Oh, look out. It's homecoming in Moscow this weekend as the Idaho Vandals are going to take on the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks. 3 p.m. at the Kibbie Dome. Watch it on ESPN Plus as we welcome our college football hour Wednesdays at 4 o'clock Mountain Time. We're joined now. This is our video segment, by the way, so you can look at the beautiful locks, the beautiful visor. Look at that smile. Jason Eck, Idaho Vandal head coach, with us right now. Coach, I received your letter a couple days ago. Appreciate the personal letter touch. I'm looking forward to talking to you today. How you doing, Coach Eck?
Hey, you got to love up your big time boosters like you. You got to love them up and send them those thank you notes. So,
thanks, Coach. Team, are they more focused after a loss? I know you guys lost a tough one at Davis. They've kind of had your number since you've been here. I think that's the only team you're 0-2 against in this league. The guys more focused now that you lost a game?
Yeah, I think when you have a team with a lot of character, like I believe we do, and a tough-minded, mentally strong team, you definitely want to come back with a little bit more resolve, after a tough loss like that. And I think over the last few years, I think our team has done a good job of that. So we practiced very well so far this week, and expect to have another great practice today to get ready. And very excited to be back at home, playing in front of our home fans in the Kibbie Dome. After opening the year with 4 road games out of 5, it's a sight for sore eyes to be back in the Kibbie Dome this Saturday.
You've proven you can win with Jack Layne or Jack Wagner. Any update there on the quarterback room that you can give us here, Coach?
Yeah, Jack, I think, is healing well. He had a good X-ray, but he's still out for a while. Wagner couldn't finish the game with kind of re-aggravating his shoulder injury, but I thought Nick Josephack did a tremendous job coming in, led us on 2 scoring drives late, and put us in the position where we had a 2-point conversion attempt to tie. He did a really nice job, and but Wagner has come back pretty good from that injury in the game. He was able to practice yesterday, so we're still sorting it out. Probably after today's practice, we'll make our decisions on who we're going to go with, or if we're going to go with both in the game.
Jason Eck, Idaho Vandals football coach, coming off a loss to UC Davis, 28-26, but a whole big old slate of Big Sky games still in front of him. Coach, they always say in the coaching business, and these are the coaching cliches that you guys use, you always learn more about your team from a loss. So what did you learn about your team?
Well, I thought there were some guys who stepped up. I thought we had some injuries in the defensive line, so it was exciting to see. Xavier Slayton got his first start at defensive end, and the third down of the game gets in on a sack. And Jakari Lermond, who started in the pass force but hadn't started this year, he came in because Afalava was not healthy enough to start, and he played very well. Malachi Williams really stepped up with Keyshawn Limited. He had a sack and a half and was our player of the game. And I thought Nick Josephack stepped up. So, and I think our line, we're continuing to grow on both the O-line and D-line, making improvements. I thought our O-line did a nice job in the game. We ran it well with our tailbacks, protected well. We really had 1 sack, which was a coverage sack, and we ended up throwing it, 45 times in that game, more than we'd like to. So, I think we're seeing some progress and growth there.
Coach, what about the defense? I think this is the best defense you've had since you've been in Moscow. Feels like they're playing like it. What's your thoughts on this defense you guys have? Pack a pretty good punch, man.
I think we got an outstanding defense. We got to make sure, I thought, probably the one thing that we've struggled with at times is when teams have gone really, really fast against us and up tempo. And really, I think the second half of the Abilene Christian game, and that was, necessity. They were down 17 points. They got us off balance a little bit. And then, Cal Davis made a nice response. Our first 3 series of the game couldn't have gone any better. We go down for a long score drive, get a 3-and-out on defense, then have another scoring drive to go up 14-0. They did a good job of responding and kind of got us off balance with their tempo. Because we're playing a lot of D linemen, I think one of their strategies in the game was when our best guys were out of the game, go super fast and don't let those guys get back in. Try to not give you an opportunity to get those subs. So, we got to learn from that and grow from that. Keep getting aligned, making sure that we're getting some lost yardage plays and some no gains. Get them to 3rd and long where they may have to sub, and we can get our very good sub packages in.
Coach, the Big Sky. Let's get to that. You got NAU coming in. It's homecoming, as we said, and They're coming off a monster win. They beat Sac State and beat them good, Coach, 34-16. It feels like every single week you're playing another ranked opponent. The only non-ranked team you played this year is Wyoming. Every other team you guys have faced has been ranked. Northern Arizona isn't, but they're 3-2, feeling really good about that win last week against Sac State. What are their biggest challenges that you're going to have to look forward and obviously get ready for?
They're good. You know what? They did sneak in the polls. I think they're 25 in one of the polls this week. So
Damn.
really will be our fourth straight FCS ranked team we're playing. They got a new coaching staff. I think Brian Wright is really doing a nice job. Their head coach, he runs the offense. He came from Pittsburgh State, which is a really out of the MIAA, which I think is the best Division II league in the country. So he's used to a highly competitive, level of football in that conference. He brought his defensive coordinator with him. I thought their defense was really dominating against Sac State's offense. Their defense really shut them down and beat them up physically. Pose a lot of count problems because they're very multiple in what they do on defense. And then they have a very good quarterback who transferred over, Ty Pennington. He came with the head coach from Pittsburgh State, and he's completing about 65% of his passes, doesn't turn it over, is very accurate. They got a nice RPO attack. They have a nice screen game they use. So they're an impressive team. They really kind of remind me of maybe our team back in 22, where I think with a new coach, they had some talent in the building already, and he's kind of got them going in the right direction, where I think they're going to be a factor in the playoff race in his first year.
Coach, looking over the stat sheet, there's all kinds of stuff, really interesting, fascinating stuff on your stats. You haven't lost a fumble yet in 5 games. That's the good side. I did notice a trend when it comes to the scoring quarters, and sometimes these numbers are really phony and not right. You guys score 48 points in the first quarter, and every quarter after that, it goes down to the point where you're scoring only 16 points in the fourth quarter this year, and I think 9 of those came against Davis. On the flip side, you're giving up the most amount of points in the fourth quarter. Is there a trend there that you're looking at, or is that more situational stuff that doesn't really matter?
No, I think it matters. I think it, I think we've been doing a really good job with our opening script, and I think we got to keep doing a good job of, once we get through that, of putting our players in the best, situations to be successful on offense so that we can be consistent throughout the game. And then, defensively, I think that's probably a little skewed. I think the Abilene Christian game where they were up tempo in the second half and it was humid down there, I think that definitely had a role in that. I thought our defense, rised up last week and did a nice job, the last few series of the game, slowing those guys down. But, we got to continue to let our depth on defense be a factor so we're not getting worn down in games and giving more up as the game goes on.
Jason Eck with us, Idaho Vandals. Coach, are you a crier? Have you ever cried after a win? Because me and Prater got into this a couple weeks ago. He loves the fact that his 2 coaches, Kyle Whittingham at Utah and Mike Tomlin with the Steelers, will never cry after an emotional win, and he likes that. He doesn't want a guy who's going to cry to the team, and I kind of respect it. I haven't really thought about it before. You're my guy. You're my Kyle Whittingham. I'm an alum. Have you ever cried after a game? Are you a crier?
I'm not a big crier. So I don't think I've really ever come to tears after a game. I mean, there's been times where I've thought about, maybe, a certain, player, how he responded, or, somebody who's been going through a tough thing, and then seeing them really play well, where, maybe for a second you feel like a little wave of emotion or get choked up for a second, but I don't know if it's ever brought me to tears that way. So I passed the Prater test that way.
Yeah, and to clarify, there's 2 different versions of crying. Like when Dicker cried after the Apple Cup, it was a more like a single tear of emotion, maybe kind of like what you said, that kind of emotion struck over. But when the Northern Illinois guy beat
Notre Dame.
I mean, that guy, I thought his dog had passed away, for crying out loud. And don't ever do that, Eck. Coach Eck, you can shed a tear of emotion over, a little bit of tear, but the blubberingness after beating Notre Dame, don't do that.
I don't see myself ever doing that, Prater. I think, I would maybe crack a joke after a win like, Northern Illinois versus Notre Dame.
That makes you my kind of guy as well. So me and Ballgame have just one more thing in common.
I knew it, man. I knew Eck's not going to he's not going to cry when he goes and beats Montana State. I can't see my guy doing that. Jason Eck with us, getting ready for homecoming in the Kibbie, 3 p.m. ESPN Plus against Northern Arizona. Going to be a fun one for the Vandals. And Coach, you've looked at the Big Sky. We'll get you out on this. I mean, last year, what was it? Was it 4 or 5 teams into the dance? This year, it looks like about the same, if not more. Looks like a really good year, really competitive in the Big Sky, man.
Yeah, we had 4 teams last year who made the playoffs. I think it was 5, 2 years ago in 22.
Yeah.
And we have 6 teams ranked, right now in the conference. So half the league's ranked. So it's, it's definitely, we're one of the power conferences of the FCS, along with the Missouri Valley Conference, which, is the home of the Dakota schools. And, now you're playing each other. So there's a lot of big weeks. And I think the way our schedule worked out this year, we're playing 3 ranked teams right off the bat, our first 3 games of conference. So as tough as that loss was last week, hey, buck up, man. We got a chance to get a ranked win this week and a great opportunity in front of us. So I think our team will respond to that opportunity and challenge.
And homecoming's always a blast, Coach Jack. We always appreciate you giving us your time. I know you just get out of a meeting before this interview. You do it live. We don't have to pre-record you. It's terrific. And always, thanks for your time.
Hey, appreciate you guys, man. Thanks, Prater. Thanks, Ballgame. V's up.
Heck yeah, V's up. Jason Eck right here on Idaho Sports Talk. Boise State fan who sat through that Idaho Vandal interview. Here is your reward. If you want to go see Boise State, Utah State, call 208-424-9300. We're looking for caller number 25. You need Tuesday's keyword, or you're not going to have a shot. If you want to go see Boise State, Utah State, call that number right now. We need caller number 25 on Idaho Sports Talk.
This is Ticket Traffic.